it's distorted. And it's not just the Westerners, it's also many of the indigenous practitioners too. Because what's been happening is that there's been this, let's say, a shamanic paradigm revolution that has been spurred, and it's growing. And many of the indigenous lineages that, that were living, before they're isolated and not interested in learning the teachings from their grandparents and stuff like this. But then they realize there's a lot of money, there's a lot of power to be gained if they bring these teachings. And because they're indigenous, a lot of people assume that they are the authentic deal. And what's happening is that you have these different indigenous generations coming forward that are attempting to revive what was lost in their family or in their line or whatever, but they're novices. They're still novices, and many of them got trained by a Western person and came back to their roots, and they're novices, and people are coming in thinking that they're masters. And the same thing happens in the Western world. It's like people reach this novice level of being able to call on spirit and hold ceremony and do all these things. And then they start doing things that really they start working with larger groups of people that's really only appropriate for a master to do. Okay. And this is why so many things go terribly awry in these medicine ceremonies, And it's not to say that everybody's ill-willed. What I'm saying is that they're not equipped to the level that they think they're equipped. It's like there may be, maybe they're okay with the walk and the trot and the canter, but they're taking groups of people on full-on gallops. And it's beyond, you really need to be ahead of the frequency of the people that you're working with. So more advanced than the people that you're facilitating for. And of course, there's a lot of star seeds and way showers that are attracted to these shamanic waves, and they are highly activated and don't know it. They just don't have the teachings. And then they go into these ceremonies, and then there's this mix match of frequency, and then, of course, things happen. And of course, even in that's all in divine order, because everything is serving to wake people up. There are many people here who went deep into the medicine ceremonial route, and then something really terrible happened, and that woke them up out of it. It's like, oh, yep, done with that, never doing that again. And now they go through the journey of unraveling the things that happened, and in that journey they find the gold. They wake up to themselves, they activate those codes, and now they're online in a much more potent way. So even in the mishaps, it serves. Because as I said, we are inundated with these encodements right now. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that these encodements are, this reweaving into the Sophionic mother consciousness is happening, because these are layers upon layers upon layers of encodements that are completely inundating our reality. So there is not a single being, unless even if they live under a rock, because the rocks are getting it too. It's like there's not a single being that is not taking in these codes. So even, when you go into the satanic narratives and all this, they too are taking in all these codes. So that's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before they too have an experience that activates these codes and wakes them up. Okay. All right. Dear brother goes on to say, yes, the woman who taught our teacher was from Nepal, but something seems to have been lost in translation between her and our teacher. Yeah. So, yeah, this happens, Nepal actually has some very powerful beings in their lineage. I remember getting exposed to a few in dream time, and then one in person. Yeah, she came into bless our house. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the woman that brought her in. Oh, my brain is completely blank. I can't. All right, there's a reason. But there's a story that she told that really activated me and let me really, it was my intuition, my truth compass letting me know that she was the real deal. And that was, she told the story of how she began working with the immortal master that taught her. And the story was, she was a sheep herder, and she would tend is it sheep? Yeah, she would tend the sheep. This is high up in altitude. You know, you would stay, you would spend a lot of time out in the wilderness tending to the sheep. And this being started abducting her. I think she was around 8 or 9 years old. And when I say abducting, it means that he would approach and she would be taken into these realms with him. And the key piece to that story that like really like activated me was she said that she can always tell he was coming because his presence was predicated by the sound of trumpets. Now, what does that remind you of? Okay, so, and this is something really significant to mark. When a truly realized being, such as like maybe an embodied Christ or whatever, you know, truly realized being on those levels, the act of them coming in contact with you within the nesting dolls of the different distortions and everything that you exist in, because we're all enveloped in these frequencies. As they come to reach you, enveloped within these frequencies, they're melting these energies away. It's like these energies cannot exist within their field because they're an embodied absolute truth. So as they come towards you, the parting of that reality makes a sound, very much like how lightning creates thunder, okay? And as this being, she described as this being would approach her, there would be trumpets sounding all around her, vibrating through her body and penetrating her ears. And then he would take her through cliff faces, through mountains, you know what I mean? So she was taught by a true master. And I was really blown away that this woman was sitting in my basement to come and bless the house. I was like, wow, this is absolutely phenomenal that we, you know, our paths cross like this, you know. But this is something really significant for us to be aware of, that absolute truth melts away the nesting dolls of distortions, and it truly is tangible to our awareness, no matter where we are in our development. It's undeniable, it's unmistakable, that interaction. Okay. Oh my gosh, this hour goes by so quickly. All right, I'm going to read the rest of these comments and then I'm going to start wrapping up, dear Starshines. All right, so our practice started in Northern Africa, but thrived in Nepal. It's called Ape Ama. Ape Ama. Interesting. That pronunciation is very close to some of the teachings from the Kurakukuyaks I've worked with in the South America. Yeah, you know, I wonder if it's, yeah, it probably is connected. So I remember I was on a train on our way to Machu Picchu, and there was a performance that the Indigenous were doing on this train. And this was specific to our group. And it was fascinating because I could have easily been sitting in Thailand watching this performance. It felt so Asian. The clothes, the regalia, everything felt Asian to me, you know. So it's interesting what you're saying here.